Well, in Georgia, storm season is scarier than some other places because of all the lovely, beautiful trees that we have, and we're always afraid that they're going to come tumbling down. Well, in this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about how to spot a healthy tree. I'm here with certified arborist Chris Heim. Chris, thanks so much for coming on Focus Atlanta to talk a little bit about how to spot a safe and or unsafe tree here in Georgia. It's good to meet you.
Thanks for having me on, Keisha. I appreciate it.
Now, as a certified arborist, you must get these kind of questions all the time. I mean, part of why we love living in Georgia is because of these beautiful trees, and they're so large and looming. But they can also be pretty scary in a storm. Is there anything that we could be kind of paying attention to or looking out for before the storm comes?
There's no doubt in Atlanta we live amongst the trees, and without them, Atlanta would be a much different city for sure. First, you want to look at the canopy of the tree, where all the limbs and the leaves are. And if you notice a lot of dead limbs in the tree, or the very ends of the limbs are dying on the very tips, that's a sign of some kind of, more than likely, a root problem in the tree. Other things would be when the leaves are on during the growing season. If the leaves just look, if the canopy looks thin or the leaves look off color or small, that is no doubt a sign that you need to get the tree checked out and see what's going on with the health of the tree. One thing that was real important is around the base of the tree. If you see any kind of fungal growth, mushroom growth in and around the base of the tree or on the tree, you definitely need to get a professional in to diagnose what's going on, because a lot of times that fungal growth may be an indicator of some severe decay issues going on in the root crown, the large roots around the base of the tree, and where the tree connects to the roots. That is the critical area of strength of the tree. So if that's compromised, you got a big problem. So then you want to look at like the trunk of the tree, the main stem and the large branches. And if you notice any kind of decayed spots or holes or discolored bark or sunken bark or anything, those are usually an indication that there's some kind of decay in the tree. Doesn't necessarily mean the tree has to come down, but it may have to be further evaluated to see how significant it is.
People don't know that. I think that sometimes we feel like once we find out that the tree may not be as healthy as it could be, it automatically has to come down, and that's what freaks people out, because they're like, oh, I love this big tree, I don't want it to come down. But there are things that we can do to get it back healthy. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Depending on what the issue is, it may be a treatment program to bring it back to health.
I'm Georgia born and raised. So I've always heard that it's the pine trees. Watch out for those pine trees. Oh no, you don't want to buy that house with all those pine trees. So should we be concerned about the type of tree? Is that true that some are more likely to come down than others?
Not necessarily, and I'm one of those homeowners that has a yard full of pines, so I'm well familiar with them, and I love them. The shade they provide is amazing. But no, it really has to do with individual tree health and structure. And to be honest with you, when we go through these summer storms and fall storms, we probably see more hardwoods fail than we do pines. Pines are really susceptible to ice damage, because they're evergreen. And so with all that foliage on them all winter, if they get a heavy accumulation of ice, they are prone to that. But I think they get a bad rap sometimes.
Good to know. Good to know. Thanks so much for coming on the show and sharing all the information with us. I appreciate your time.
Keisha, thank you for having us.
And thank you guys for tuning into this segment of Focus Atlanta. Please stay